Hey guys, welcome to UKPM Survival Outdoors here on YouTube, and in this latest UKPrepperman video we are talking about modding your kit. Stay tuned. So here we are in another video. Thank you for joining me. If it's the first time you have stumbled across my channel, then welcome. It's all about prepping, survival and all that jazz. So if you do enjoy this video, don't forget to check out the other videos on the channel. Please like, share and subscribe, and of course any comments, I'd love to hear them. So without further ado, kit modification. It's not a new idea, it's been around for many years, but the basic concept behind it is to tailor an item to suit your personal requirements. Now it's very popular in the military. A lot of soldiers will tailor their kit and suit their requirements by just making adaptations as and when required. So some examples can include adding additional pockets to an item of clothing, maybe modifying a cook kit to suit personal requirements, or tailoring a rucksack. And this one, for example, an old school olive green PLC long back. I'd say this one's quite a few years old now. It's dated 1989 and the olive preceded DPM, so yeah, it's got a few years on it, but it's got plenty of life left in it, and I reckon some modifications can be done to this. Maybe the straps can be adjusted, additional pouches added, you know, there's lots of options, and I'll always say options and choices. And I suppose as long as you have the equipment there to carry out the job and the talent to undertake that sort of activity, you know, it's a fantastic skill to have. And now is a great time to showcase some of the work that has been carried out by 4 friends who I camped with recently. They have adapted their own kit, they have made kit from scratch, and I think it looks superb. So I'm going to introduce you now to Shovel Recce, Rogue Roger Combat, Chris, and of course Viking Mitch. Over to you guys.
A good 15-year-old. It's just a bit of hazel from a hazel stand from Latham Woods, where I used to live in Arlo. That round there is lead core leader. It was just the only thing I had at the time, and a bit of braid and a J feather, and that's your wind feather for wind direction. Stick it in the ground, you can see the wind direction. It's a tracking stick, hence why it's got like a badger and deer and all that carved into it. It's covered in linseed oil. It did have castration rings on it, but they perished. But I've got inches and centimetres, and I just made it many years ago, and I've just kept it.
Yeah, compass on there as well.
Yeah. I did have a little lanyard through there so you can put it on your wrist, but I took it off because I didn't like it. But it's all right for tracking, and it's went on a tracking course many years ago, and I made it. So yeah.
That is bang on.
I'll just empty it out, and everything fits in. So there's a windshield in here as well that you can use for around your cooker, and it's an inverted, what I call crown, and that's made from an industrial cooking, oil cooking pot, just tin snips, and that just slots together when the goes around the cooker to help it with the Ventura effect. So this is a 12cm pot, that's the centre of everything, and I'll just get out the contents. So I tend to have a wire Brillo pad to clean everything. That's for having tea, because you're going to run out of tea and coffee, so you can put nettles and stuff in there to create tea, or use pine needles, and that's just an additional big lighter when you need to get things on the go. So it's a standard zebra pot, except it's had holes drilled in it as well to lighten it out, plus also it makes it less hot when you want to pick it out of the fire or out of the cooker, so that's quite useful. And this is the main cooker system itself. So I have some of these bio zips, and you can then just burn those a bit like hexi cookers, hexi blocks, but you can't get those now. And this is the main cooker itself. It's based off aluminium Trangia 28 system, but I've modified it so it's actually all stainless steel. So when you take it apart, it just consists of a number of parts, easily maintained, and these are just made out of old coffee pots. Okay, so that's the main system itself. So you can use a Trangia, because it's based around a Trangia, except it's stainless steel. So if I wanted, I can then use it for a gas cooker, and all I simply do is place that through there, squeeze it, it locks in place. Push that down, connect the gas bottle, and away we go. If I wanted to then not bother utilising a full pot, you can then put your pot stand on the top. You can then boil water or your brew with your canteen cup, so that works quite efficiently. You can, if you don't want to use gas or you run out of gas, again it's just in simple component parts. You can place this together, and that's just a milk jug that's cut down, and British military now use the BCB dragon gel, and you place that in there and then put your dragon gel and then light it, and away you go. And again you can use it for either the canteen or the zebra pot to then cook on. You can, if you didn't want to do that either, you can then use these, that's just the top of a coffee pot, and that's drilled out, and that goes in, and you put in your biofuel and then light it, and then you can then again use the ring on the top to stabilise it for whatever you want it to do. And as we said, you can use it for the dragon gel, and you just take it out and light it and place it in. The other advantage is you can use this as a wood burner because it's all stainless steel, and where you can then just invert it, place that in, and then light your wood and put it in the top, and again you can use that as a stove, or again because you've got that centre, and because this again is based around a Trangia, which is one of the most popular makes of equipment, you can then use a Trangia method burner on the system. Everything is replenishable. You can use wood, you can use bios, you can use BCB dragon gel, you can actually use charcoal, you can use wood. And the reason I wanted it was it's a multi-purpose fuel stove, which I made for, again, coffee pots, and that's your windshield as well. And then once it's on the go, because everything is directed upwards, all the heat travels up the side of the billy pot, and to help the Ventura effect as well and stop weather getting into your food, you can then just place your lid on. And on this particular zebra pot, it's got a 6mm grease nipple, which has then been drilled out, and that's held in place. If you've got water that's really bad, or seawater, you can then get a 6mm tube, rotate it around and then create a distilling system, and it will still use this same pot. And it costs next to nothing because everything is made of old stainless steel pots or an old leather sofa, so it doesn't need to cost a great deal to have a multi-purpose stove, and everything goes back in the bag.
We've got a stainless steel ring which a kind friend of mine's made, which is it's called a Russian ring, which is basically a way of clipping onto your a 750mm titanium cup, a Lonsdale bottle, type of boxes used, that comes with a straw that bends over normally, and that's the filter from a was it water to go bottle. And fortunately through a little bit of trial and error, I've worked out that it can be screwed onto there. And you now have a 32 ounce or 1 litre water filter bottle. Sorry.
What's the cost of that compared to the alternative then?
The whole cost complete, you're looking at about 40 quid. And then in that size it conveniently fits in. So you've got yourself a pretty little lightweight water purification cup system.
You've got a full cooking system then, haven't
Full
you?
custom system, yeah. 240.
So that's the weight with it on there,
That's the weight of
240
it,
grams.
240 grams.
Wow.
Call it 245 with the lid.
Go on.
3 steel tubes. Get this stuff from B&Q. Basically cut it down to the length you want it. Put an angle on the end. Drilling holes is an option. You don't have to drill holes, and what they're for are, obviously it's a 10 peg. Also, you build a little fire. See if we can get it right. Stick them in the ground like that. Little fire. Up goes on there. Bob's your uncle and Fanny's your aunt.
Started life as an Austrian field pack, and then I have modified it. So the Austrian pack is designed to be frameless, which a lot of people don't get. And how the Austrians get around it is they use a roll mat as their backer. Okay, so the pocket everyone thinks is a radio pocket isn't, it's the sleeping mat to go in. So that's another useful feature on this pack. It's got a decent grab handle that's built in, and then because if you know what an Austrian pack looks like, the shoulder system for it is hideous. It's the only way to describe it. It looks like a US Army M56 harness for their web gear. It is absolutely shocking. So what I've done is, this is the old harness off a Carrymore rucksack, and I've just sewn it on by hand using barber thread, padded the out there, and then I've just put the height adjusters on it, and then the pullers at the bottom, and then a little bit of a waist belt that's 40mm in a QR buckle, and then they're just ranger bands to hold it in place should I ever need it. And then I've kept the metal connectors for their original yoke, because there's a there, so if I wanted to put elastic on the bottom at a later date I can do. And then there's the date for the pack with the Austrian 82. Comes with originally side pockets and a lid and nothing here. So this is a cross between an Austrian field pack and Carrymore top and some Alice pouches off a large, and then all I've done is I've sewn them on. Changed all the buckles over because they were metal. They were this, the spring one. Yeah, the pockets on the sides have no tunnel. There is a strap here for whatever. The Austrians don't know what it's for, so I've just cut it off and then just sewed it so you can now use that to attach any carabiner. There was a gap here, so I've just used the original material from the Austrian's back pocket here and just put it into here. So if I've got anything small I can just slide it in there. Yeah, and then the lid, I put no pocket in there, but I've still got access for the Alice pack style lid on the top. So it's a Carrymore top and an Alice lid, because in a previous life this was a large Alice that I didn't need anymore, so I just stripped it down for component parts. Inch QR fittings just to make life easier. I've got one in the top just to pull it tight. Now the thing with the Austrian pack is, compared to the Alice, you get a weather lock liner because the Austrians have this thing called snow and inclement weather. So the pack itself, volume wise, is 47.5 litres, so it is actually bigger than the medium Alice and not quite as large as a large Alice, but it's bomb-proof piece of kit. The fact that it's got no frame means you can roll it up and stick it into a normal Bergen and just you'll kind of use it like a scout patrol pack. And then this is the bit, this is the radio pocket bit here. which it's not, it's designed for a mat. So all I've done is, that is a Dutch knackered roll mat that I've just sewn into basically a sit mat, but that is now part of the back. So yeah, I can load this out, and then for the inner I've just done that. That's an old Gore-Tex piece of material that's been sewn onto 4 roll mat things, something we used to do back in the day, and that's been sewn onto an IPK sheet so it keeps off the ground. Basically all we need for a roll mat is to move from the back of your head to just past your knees. As I'm a hobbit, that's my size. And then there's a good old 40 litre dry bag, yeah, and then that's it. And then the top of the pack, to give it some extra volume, I had a surplus piece of mesh, and these 3 pockets are the mag cells off a large Alice. So basically I've got this mesh pocket behind and then these 3, so I've got a water filter in here, and then in here just another little pouch. You can put what you want in it, right? And then basically, you know, it's an idea that was floating around in my head for a while, and when I finally had an opportunity to pick up an Austrian pack for peanuts, I just went and did it. And then that took me 2 days of my own time and my own sewing machine. If you've got the skills and you can do it, it'll save you a fortune. It's as simple as that. And then, you know, it's a one-off, but it's to my specs and it does what I need it to do. And then it didn't cost a fortune. So I'm thinking all in, including buying the rucksack, about 30 quid. And that's it. All you've got to do is think it through, some design, and then a little bit of trial and error. You might stick a few pins in yourself while you're trial and error it, but get something that works for you, and then that's it. And then other than that, that's what you end up with. It's not going to win any awards, but it hasn't cost a bomb like a lot of people running around out there, and it does the job. So other than that, people, Viking Mitch out.
Well, I hope you enjoyed watching that. I certainly enjoyed watching it back with you, and there's a lot of patience that goes into carrying out work like that, I'm sure, along with, of course, a lot of skill. So, over to you. Are you modifying kit yourself? Are you planning to modify your kit? What sort of modifications would you do? Have you got anything in the pipeline? Drop a comment down at the bottom and let me know, because I'm sure that other viewers would be interested in seeing what you are getting up to yourselves. And you never know, we might get something done with this at some point, if time allows. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and that just leaves me to say, remember, of course, you can follow me on Instagram, where you'll see additional channel related content along with regular updates. And if you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to check out the other videos on the channel. Please like, share, subscribe at the bottom. Of course, any comments, love to hear them. Be prepared, stay prepared. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye for now. A skill to have, and that brings me nicely on to the rest of this video, because
Not wearing it.
this is the beauty of an edit button.
Yeah, cool, you can
Don't worry about it. And that just leaves me to say, remember, of course, you can follow me on. And that brings me nicely up to this point where I'm now going to showcase some of the work that these 4 guys who I camped with recently have modified. Now, it's all fine to buy stuff, but you really do now, it's all nice to, it's all nice. And this is a good time to show you the work which is being carried out. What modifications, revival, and all that jazz. So if you do enjoy this video, don't forget to check out the other. And that brings me nicely up to where I am now going to showcase some of the work. And without further ado, they are Chris, Roger,